Standing on the deck of the world's largest aircraft carrier, the ocean stretches endlessly in every direction. Below, a floating city of steel moves effortlessly through the waves. It looks invincible, untouchable. But is it? We've seen unsinkable ships meet their doom before. The Titanic, torn apart by an iceberg. The Bismarck, one of Germany's most powerful warships, sent to the depths by relentless firepower. Then, there's the SS Faro, a cargo ship that disappeared without a trace after sailing straight into a monster storm. So, what makes an aircraft carrier any different? How does something so massive, carrying thousands of crew members and dozens of aircraft, stay afloat? More importantly, could one ever capsize? To answer that, we first need to look at what happens when a massive ship meets its worst enemy, the ocean itself. On September 29, 2015, the SS Faro set sail from Jacksonville, Florida, bound for Puerto Rico. It was a 790-foot-long cargo ship, built to withstand rough seas. But as it moved across the Atlantic, something terrifying was brewing in the distance: Hurricane Joaquin. At first, the storm was just a tropical disturbance, nothing to worry about. But within 2 days, it had evolved into a Category 4 monster, its winds screaming past 80 miles per hour, waves towering 40 feet high. And El Faro? It sailed straight into the storm's path. By October 1st, the ship was in trouble. Water flooded into the lower decks. The vessel tilted 15 degrees, dangerously off balance. The last message from the captain? We've contained the flooding. Moments later, radio silence. The ship was never heard from again. Days of searching led to nothing but floating debris and a shattered lifeboat. The entire crew, gone. And just like that, El Faro became one of the worst maritime disasters in modern history. Here's the chilling part. El Faro was massive. If a ship that size could be swallowed by the ocean, what does that mean for an aircraft carrier? It's a question that most people don't think about. We look at aircraft carriers as the kings of the sea, massive, heavily armored, and seemingly untouchable. But make no mistake, these floating cities are not indestructible. They can sink. They just don't do it easily. The difference between an aircraft carrier and a cargo ship like El Faro isn't just size. It's engineering, stability, and the very way they interact with the water. And yet, there have been moments when even the Navy's most powerful carriers have been put to the test. Take what happened on July 8, 2022. The USS Harry S. Truman, one of the Navy's largest aircraft carriers, was conducting an at-sea resupply mission in the Mediterranean. The skies were clear. The operation was routine. Then, out of nowhere, the weather shifted. A sudden gust of wind, unexpected, violent, swept across the flight deck. And in a split second, before anyone could react, something unthinkable happened. The wind tore an F/A-18 Super Hornet fighter jet clean off the deck, hurling it straight into the sea below. Think about that for a second. These jets aren't just parked like regular planes at an airport. They are bolted down, locked in place, designed to withstand extreme conditions. And yet, a single freak gust of wind was enough to rip it loose and send it plummeting into the ocean. Now, if a fighter jet, a machine built for high-speed combat and extreme stress, can be thrown off an aircraft carrier by nothing more than weather, what does that say about the ship itself? The truth is, even with all their size and power, aircraft carriers are not immune to the forces of nature. That's why their stability is not left to chance. The Navy doesn't just hope these ships stay upright, they engineer them to survive. The secret to their survival? A combination of physics, design, and technology that most people never even think about. Because when a storm hits, it's not just about how strong a ship is, it's about how well it fights back. And that battle starts with one of the most critical, yet often overlooked parts of a carrier: its anchor. If a 790-foot cargo ship like El Faro can vanish beneath the waves, how does an aircraft carrier, more than 1,000 feet long and carrying thousands of crew members, stay upright? The answer isn't just size. It's a combination of engineering, design, and constant adaptation. One of the biggest misconceptions about aircraft carriers is that they're just floating slabs of steel. But beneath the waterline, they're designed with one of the most advanced balancing systems ever created. First, there's the bulbous bow, a secret weapon hidden beneath the surface. Unlike traditional ship designs, a carrier's bow isn't just meant to cut through waves. It's shaped to cancel out water resistance, reducing drag and improving stability even in the roughest seas. Then, there are the ballast tanks, huge compartments inside the ship that fill with water to adjust balance. If the ship starts tilting too far in one direction, the system pumps water to the opposite side, counteracting the force of the waves. It's an ancient principle. Early sailors used rocks and sand for balance, but modern aircraft carriers have taken it to an entirely new level. And then, of course, there's the anchor. More than just a tool for docking, an aircraft carrier's anchor is part of its survival system. When a storm hits, keeping the ship in the right position is everything. A misplaced tilt, a sudden loss of balance, it could send the entire flight deck into chaos. That's why, even with all the technology in place, constant adjustments are needed to keep a carrier stable. Because out in the open ocean, nature doesn't play by the rules. Because no matter how strong a ship is, it's only as good as the people on board. Every single sailor goes through survival training, because when disaster strikes, machines won't save them. What do you do when the ship starts tilting? What do you do if you're trapped in a flooding compartment? Do you jump, swim, wait for rescue? This isn't a Hollywood movie. If you make the wrong decision, you might not get another chance. That's why aircraft carriers never sail alone. They travel with a strike group, a fleet of destroyers, submarines, and supply ships ready to act if things go south. But here's the catch. These ships aren't right next to the carrier like you see in the movies. They're miles away. And sometimes that distance is the difference between survival and disaster. After everything we've covered, the technology, the balance systems, the training, there's still one final question. Could an aircraft carrier ever be taken down by a storm? The truth? Probably not. Modern aircraft carriers are designed to withstand extreme conditions. They've faced hurricanes, typhoons, even rogue waves, and survived. The engineering behind them is so advanced that the likelihood of a storm capsizing one is incredibly low. But does that mean it's impossible? Because the ocean doesn't play by our rules. A rogue wave, a structural failure, or an unseen catastrophe, all it takes is one freak event. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you love deep dives like this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, because we've got plenty more coming your way.